English? Yeah? Okay. Good. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are continuing to read from Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, text 37. Thank you very much. Yatai dangshi samidoknir. Yatai dangshi samidoknir. Bhasmasat kuruterjuna. Bhasmasat kuruterjuna. Jnana-agni sarva karmani. Jnana-agni sarva karmani. Bhasmasat kurute tata. Bhasmasat kurute tata. Yatai dangsi samidoknir. Bhasmasat kuruterjuna. Jnana-agni sarva karmani. Bhasmasat kurute tata. Yatai dangsi samidoknir. Bhasmasat kuruterjuna. Jnana-agni sarva karmani. Bhasmasat kurute tata. Try. Yatai dangsi samidoknir. Bhasmasat kuruterjuna. Jnana-agni sarva karmani. Bhasmasat kurute tata. Yatai dangsi samidoknir. Bhasmasat kuruterjuna. Jnana-agni sarva karmani. Bhasmasat kurute tata. Yatai dangsi samidoknir. Bhasmasat kuruterjuna. Jnana-agni sarva karmani. Bhasmasat kurute tata. Thank you. Word for word translation. Yata, just as. Edangshi, firewood. Samidaha, blazing. Agni, fire. Bhasmasat, ashes. Kurute, turns. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Jnana Agni, the fire of knowledge. Sarva Karmani, all reactions to material activities. Bhasmasat, to ashes. Kurute, it turns. Tata, similarly. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. Purport. Perfect knowledge of self and super-self and of their relationship is compared herein to fire. This fire not only burns up all reactions to impious activities, but also all reactions to pious activities, turning them to ashes. There are many stages of reaction. Reaction in the making, reaction fructifying, reaction already achieved, and reaction a priori. But knowledge of the constitutional position of the living entity burns everything to ashes. When one is in complete knowledge, all reactions, both a priori and a posteriori, are consumed. In the Vedas, Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, it is stated, Ube ubhai vaisha ete taratyam rita sadav asaduni. One overcomes both the pious and impious reactions of work. Mukam karoti vajalang pangung langayate girin yat kripa tangahang vande Shri Gurun dinataranam. Homa Yajna timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Aur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, we just heard a few verses ago that Datvini Pranipatina Pariparashtina Sevaya Upadekshanti Tegyanam Gyaninas Tattvadarshina. Very, very important verse. We are still here in the 4th chapter, Transcendental Knowledge, of the Bhagavad-gītā, and how the transcendental knowledge is given to the student. It is then when the student surrenders to a self-realized soul. And this self-realized soul should be a tattvadarshi. Someone who, darshan means seen. What does he see? The truth. He has seen the truth. This is a self-realized soul, and by his realization he is able to give this realization to show this truth to others. And then what happens if the student receives transcendental knowledge through the disciplic succession? This is just explained in the following verse. It says, having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge, you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. And then we hear this verse, a very important verse also, which makes us understand by performing devotional service, all our previous karma, whatever, in whichever state it may be, we will come to that. There is aprarabdha karma, then is kutam and bicham and prarabdha karma. In all these different stages, all the karma will be eradicated. Yeah? And it is said actually the bicham is so unlimited. There are so many reactions dormant in seed form. Bija means seed. It's uncountable. We cannot count the limit, the amount of reactions on our past activities, good or bad, pious or impious. Yeah? So many are there, and they are all waiting to become fructified, yeah? to manifest in our life. It is said actually that the amount of reactions is bigger than the Himalayan mountain. Yeah? And now we hear, by the fire of devotional service, everything is eradicated. Yeah? And especially Prabhupada writes, the knowledge, perfect knowledge of the self and the super self, and of their relationship. Yeah? This has a specific name, this kind of knowledge. Anyone knows how we call this knowledge? Sambandha Gyan. Yes. Sambandha Gyan. Understanding, who am I? Yeah? Krishna Das, Nityera Krishna Das. I'm an eternal servant of the Lord. And who is the Lord? He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Mam Aivangsha Chivaloke Chivabhuta Sanatana. I'm a Sanatana, an eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Yeah? Eternally connected with the Supreme Lord. And what is my task? What is my duty as a part and parcel, eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Lord? To engage in devotional service. Yeah? And when we understand that, the power of this knowledge, this transcendental knowledge, is eradicating all the karmic reactions, good or bad. We may say, yeah, but why the good karma also? It's not bad to have good karma, it's pious. It comes from pious activities. But what is the matter with the good karma? It's still karma. It still binds us on the cycle of birth and death. The good karma is technically called karma. Yeah? With karma, we basically indicate an activity which has a reaction. But specifically also, karma is there to describe pious activities. And then we have impious activities. They are called vikarma. Before, some verses before 17, 18, also in the 4th chapter, this has been described. And Krishna makes it clear to Arjuna to understand what is action, what is inaction. Yeah? Action is good karma and impious karma. Yeah? This is all action. And in action, we have the term for that, akarma. Yeah? So, akarma, A means the negation of action. No action. This is the devotional service. But we see the devotees are so active. They're so active. They're running here and there and travel around the globe. Srila Prabhupada, 14 times he was traveling around the whole globe. How can we say he is inactive? So how do we understand the inactivity of devotional service? Yeah? Arjuna, he was asked to fight. Yeah? And by fighting, he will not do any karmic reaction. He will perform akarma. He is not acting. But he is, we can see with our eyes, he is acting. How do we understand that he is not acting? Yeah? That means we need to define activity anew. Yeah? The term activity, we have to define that anew. Activity is not what we understand being active. Activity means being active in a separated way from Krishna. With understanding of, I'm the doer. I'm the doer, I'm the controller. If we act in this way, then this is action. And if we act in the understanding of, I'm simply an instrument of the Supreme Lord. Now, in the 11th chapter, text 33, Krishna tells to Arjuna, fight and win glory. You can be only an instrument in the whole story. So activity and inactivity is not the one who is active in the world and the yogi who is inactive. This is not what is meant with action and inaction. Action is, practically speaking, activities with the understanding I'm the doer. And inaction is an activity which is not causing karmic reaction, which is devotional service, and the performer has the understanding I'm simply an instrument in the Lord's hands. So if we perform action or inaction, it's not a matter of external activity, but it's a matter of consciousness. Therefore, Krishna can say those who see action in inaction and inaction in action, they are the ones who really see what is the true action. The devotee, he performs action in inaction. Other way around, sorry. The devotee, he performs inaction in action. It's confusing. The devotee performs inaction in action. He is active externally, but he's not performing any activity. Why? Because he understands he is an instrument in the Lord's hands. And the yogi sitting under the tree in the Himalayan mountains, in a cave or under a tree, he thinks his activity is still there in the mind going on. He's still trying to concentrate his mind. And if he is not able to concentrate, the mind is again with material things. So he is still acting. Externally seen, he is inactive. He is the one who performs action in inaction. Externally, when we look at him, we think, oh, he is inactive. But still, internally, activity is going on. So the real action, or the real inaction, better, the real inaction is not in not doing anything, but it's with the proper attitude of understanding I'm only a servant of the Lord. And in this way we don't perform any karmic activity, and this is devotional service. And this knowledge is what we gain by the mercy of the spiritual master. By connecting with the spiritual master, connecting with a Tattvadarshi, with someone who has seen the truth and can reveal the truth to us. He is teaching us that fact. What is action and what is inaction? Because action is keeping us in the cycle of birth and death. But inaction is liberating us from the cycle of birth and death. So it's very important for us to understand the science of action, proper action. Since we are always active, we cannot not do anything. We are always active, we always do something, either with the physical body or with the mind. We are always active, and therefore it is highly necessary for us to understand what is proper action. How do I have to act that I'm not entangled any longer in the material world, in the cycle of birth and death? And this has not to do with external activity or inactivity, but with the consciousness. It's a matter of consciousness. This is the movement of Krishna consciousness. It's not the movement of Krishna activity. It's about the consciousness. And when we know that, this is the Sambandha Gyan, what the Guru is giving, the understanding of who am I, who is the Lord, and what is my relationship with the Lord. Yeah? And once I understood that, I start to act in that way. Yeah? I start to become active, so that I'm not anymore performing karma. I perform akarma. I'm not actually active. Yeah? Because I'm acting in the understanding I'm only the instrument in the Lord's hands. And this activity is burning up all our previous karmic reactions, good or bad. Plus, it does not create new reactions. Plus, it helps to develop our loving devotion to the Supreme Lord. Yeah? Plus, this activity is eternal. It will never go in vain. It's the only activity which is eternal. Devotional service is of eternal benefit. Krishna will never forget, the least if we go outside, pick a flower. Now soon the flowers are starting to blossom. And we bring a flower to Lord Nrsimhadev. He will never forget that. Never. It is always there available. So, what actually is that karma which is burned? How can we understand that? Prabhupada explains that there is action which is not yet fructified, action which is fructified, and all of it is burned to ashes. There is one verse from the Padma Puran which says, Aprarapta palam papam kutam bicham palam mukam kramenaiva praliyeta vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. And the translation, the 4 types of effects of sinful acts, namely aprarapta, kutam, bicham, and falonmukam, are gradually destroyed for those who are engaged in bhakti. Yeah, actually, it gets a little bit technical. There are 6 qualities of pure devotional service. 6 qualities. Pure devotional service has 6 qualities, and one of the qualities is kleshagni. Kleshagni means all the suffering is eradicated. Yeah? This happens by the eradication of all the karmic reactions. And if we look on the level on the steps from Shraddha to Prem, kleshagni is fully manifest on the level of asakti, a quite high level. It's just before the transcendence. But still, already on our level, we can understand that reactions are eradicated. It says, for example, at the moment of initiation, that all the karmic reactions are like when you have a pan and you fry the seeds. They cannot anymore blossom. You put the seeds in the ground, they will never become plants because they are fried. They are like burned. Yeah? So this is what happens with the karma seeds of the bhakta. Yeah? It cannot anymore blossom. It's gone. Yeah? The spiritual master is taking care of the karmic reaction of his disciple at the moment of initiation. Basically, already at that moment when he accepts the disciple, already then he takes care of the karmic reaction of the disciple, and by his spiritual practice and power, he is able to transmit that karmic reaction to his spiritual master, and it is given up, the parampara system. So, and eventually dissolved. Then we will have a look on these stages of karmic reactions. Aprarabdha karma means sinful reactions that are not to be experienced in the present life. The effects that are not yet fructified. Aprarabdha karma are acquired without beginning, yeah? Since time immemorial, anadi, we are accumulating aprarabdha karma, and it is infinite in number, ananta. Yeah? There is no limit of the amount of aprarabdha karma what we have stored in our subconsciousness. No limit. We cannot count it, and it's unlimited. Since the soul is wandering through the cycle of birth and death since time immemorial. Yeah? And in each birth, we accumulate more and more and more reactions, until eventually we find to Krishna consciousness and start acting in a way, understanding how to perform activity which has no karmic reaction. Yeah? And then by doing so, our karma is burned up. Then we have the next stage is kutam. This means sinful reactions which are about to become bijam, effects that are ready to produce the seed. Bijam is the seed. Yeah? If something is in the seed form, it doesn't need long until it blossoms. Yeah? You give a little bit water, you put it in the soil, you give little water, and then after a few days, you have a plant growing. Yeah? So means bijam is a reaction which is almost about to become active, yeah? Become visible. Bijam means sinful reactions which are about to be experienced and are in the form of impressions. Some impressions in the mind. Yeah? Already a sign of a bijam, of a dormant reaction which is about to fructify. And then we have the prarabdha karma. This is the sinful reactions which are already mature and are being experienced in the present life. So it is said that aprarabdha and kutam, they are not experienced in this lifetime. Yeah? They are in a dormant state, not yet in a seed state. So they will manifest in future lives. Yeah? But bijam and prarabdha karma will manifest in this life. But by performing devotional service, all of that is burned up. It is said, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. So, devotional service is very powerful, and it is said even by chanting once the holy name, of course without aparad, we eradicate more offenses than what we are able to do. Yeah? So means reactions will be deleted, so to say, will be undone just by chanting the holy name with proper attitude, with a sincere heart, with calling out for the Lord's mercy. And in this way, we proceed on our path, on the devotional journey. So we have that mantra Homa Yajna timirandasya gananjana shalakaya chakshur unmilitangena tasmai shri gurave namaha. With the torchlight of knowledge, the spiritual master has eradicated our darkness and brought light into our life, into our understanding. And this torchlight of knowledge, this is the spiritual transcendental knowledge, what makes us understand again, we have the Sambandha Gyan, who we are, who Krishna is, and what our relationship with him is. And then, accordingly, we start to become active on that platform, equipped with transcendental knowledge, and gradually our immense amount of reactions is burned down to ashes. Yeah? And not only that, it's not that we perform devotional service with the understanding, yoo-hoo, then I'm getting free of karmic reactions. Yeah? It's not like that. And it's also not like that the pure devotee is not suffering anymore. Yeah? We heard that pure devotional service is eradicating all reactions. But we also know that there is what we call Krishna karma. Yeah? Krishna karma is not the blunt karma action and reaction. Yeah? Krishna is taking our reactions, yes, he's doing when we sincerely engage in devotional service, but also he uses our reactions to help us move on faster on the path. When he sees, we go a little bit off path, then he brings some reaction, yeah, to make us understand, oh no, this is maybe the wrong path. Huh? Maybe we should a little bit become more serious here. And when a devotee experiences some difficulties in life, some suffering, the approach always is, okay, this is a reaction on my past sinful activities, but it's only a minute part of the reaction what I'm actually supposed to experience due to whatever I did in the past. Yeah? Whatever purification, we call it, comes upon us is just a fraction of that reaction what we are actually supposed to experience. And only in such an amount that we understand, or maybe we need to direct our path a little bit. Yeah? Maybe we are a little off track. Maybe better we go back into the association of devotees and we become more serious on our following our promises to the spiritual master and become more fixed up in our sadhana, start again reading in the Srimad-Bhagavatam on daily basis. Yeah? Krishna shows us where not to go and where to go by giving us fractions of our actual karma, what we are supposed to get. He uses that, and it is said, this is described in the 10th canto Bhagavatam, 14th chapter in text 8, Tatenu kampam susamikshamano, a wonderful verse which explains that actually it becomes our rightful claim to have the ticket, so to say, to go to the spiritual world, yeah? By just following our sincere devotional service, even though we experience reactions on that path. But if we sincerely follow, we are not getting distracted by any reaction what is coming, then it becomes our rightful claim to, after this lifetime, go to the spiritual world. As it is the rightful claim of the son to inherit the property of his father at the proper time. Yeah? So this is explained in the verse, and Prabhupada very nicely writes in the purport that actually Krishna is administering with a loving hand the reactions in a minute part to his beloved child. Yeah? So because he loves us so much that he wants us to come back as fast as possible. Yeah? As fast as possible. He cannot wait. It is even said that Krishna cries the moment when we turn our back towards him. Yeah? And he just stops crying that moment when we are back. And you can imagine when you, in your mind, you go through the relationships, what you have with your friends. I'm sure there is not one relationship which is completely identical with another relationship. With your parents, you have with your father, you have a specific relationship. With your mother, you have a specific relationship. With each of your friends, you have a specific relationship, which you have only with a specific person, not with anyone else. Yeah? And for Krishna, it's the same. Krishna also, with each soul, and there are millions and millions of souls, with each soul, he has a very unique relationship. We don't know which relationships we could have, yeah, which each relationship has a certain taste, yeah? Certain character in it, and we don't know which relationship is missing to us. Only when we met a new a person, and we build up a new relationship, we understand, oh, this kind of taste from this relationship I had not before. Yeah? But Krishna is different. He knows the taste of each relationship with each soul. Yeah? And that relationship, that unique relationship, what each of one has with the Lord, is vacant for the Lord at the moment. So he's missing our relationship, our turning towards the Lord. So he desires very strongly that we come close to him. And therefore, out of his love, he is sometimes giving us some reactions. Yeah? We may say, yeah, but here it said that all the reactions are burned. All the reactions on material activities are burned. Why then we have to suffer? Yeah? So we go the devotional path, we don't have to suffer anymore. No, there is also suffering. Even Srila Prabhupada, he was also suffering, and he was quite heavily suffering. And the doctors told him, actually, this man should scream out of pain. Yeah? But he was peacefully continuing to translate in the last moments, even before he left the body. Why? Because these pure souls, they don't identify with the pain. Yeah? There is pain, but they don't identify with it. There is suffering, but they don't identify with it anymore, because they understand who they really are. Yeah? That they are spirit by nature, and they act in that way, and they develop the ability to tolerate the suffering what is due to material covering. Yeah? The material body is affected by disease. Yeah? It cannot be out of how to say, declining. Once a body is has taken birth, it grows, it stays for a certain while, it produces offspring, and it declines. This is the nature of the material energy. No material energy has an eternal existence. So it's natural that the body declines, and that causes difficulties, that causes pain and suffering. So also pure souls, they are experiencing difficulties. Sometimes even Krishna uses pure souls, uses his devotees, gives them some kind of suffering to make us understand how they behave, how they take the suffering, how they practice, or how they remain Krishna conscious even in their suffering. We have had a wonderful example in the teaching of Kadamba Kanana Maharaj, how to give up the body. Yeah? Wonderful. He also was full of pain, but he was still singing and giving lectures till almost also the last moments. So this is the proper understanding, that we should not think, oh, okay, we take the path of devotional service, then we are free of suffering. We don't take to devotional service because it frees us from suffering, from our reactions. It does free us from our reaction, but the actual intention of why we take to devotional service should be because of our desire to reconnect with the Supreme Lord. Yeah? The elimination of reactions is just a side effect. Yeah? It's a welcome side effect. And even we understand that it is not like that we will not suffer anymore. Yeah? But we develop another understanding of suffering. Yeah? Why suffering is there? It is there for us to even call out more intensely to the Lord. Like Kunti Devi, she asked for calamities to come upon her again and again and again. Because in these moments, these are the moments where she is most Krishna conscious. Yeah? She's calling out for help. She is chanting like anything. Yeah? This is what we can also do when we are in an airplane and the airplane has some disturbances in the air, goes down. Yeah, then maybe these are the moments when we chant the best rounds. Yeah? So sometimes some difficulties come our way, but we also always see them as the loving arrangement of the Lord. We are meant to learn to see the Lord's hands behind all what happens to us. Yeah? It's not for our bad, but only for our good, only for increasing our sincerity, our determination to walk on the path of devotion. Never for our bad. And this is also how we can still, nevertheless, although we may experience suffering, in this way we can move on in a peaceful way, because we understand, okay, the Lord is there, He is always with us, He's just around the corner, He has an eye on us, and He wants us to come back to Him as fast as possible. So if we let go from our attachments, then the suffering will also be less. Yeah? But if we keep to our attachments, it was like Vidura, when he showed to Dhritarashtra that it is time now to leave home. Dhritarashtra, blind king, after the battle of Kurukshetra, he was still in Hastinapur, in the palace of those whom he wanted to kill. His nephews, the Pandavas, took care of him, although he intended to kill them. And then Vidura came and he had to give him a reality check, and wake him up, shake him a little bit, mentally or verbally. And Vidura, what he did, he catched the pillar, and he was screaming, let me go, just to make Dhritarashtra understand. It's us who keep to the attachments. Yeah? We have to let go, not the material item or the material element is sticking on us. It's us. In a second we can let go if we have the understanding. There's no need of material entanglement, but better we take to the path of devotional service, taking shelter at the lotus feet of a Tattvadarshi, of one who has seen the truth, and in this way move on our path with the wonderful side effect that all of our reactions will be burned to ashes. Yeah? But that should always remain a side effect, should not be the main intention while we take to this path. Main intention is always to increase our loving devotion to the Lord. Hare Krishna. Are there any comments or questions? Yes?
Can you explain more this Vishta karma that is about to come, and something about impressions?
There was the aprarabdha karma, and the kutam, bijam, and prarabdha karma. Which one?
Bishtam, or how is it?
Bijam.
Bijam.
Bijam. Bijam is the seed. The seed, like aprarabdha karma, is something what is still sleeping deep in the subconscious, and which will eventually come to the state of kutam. Kutam is something what is not yet fructified, means not yet in seed form, but ready to turn into seed form. And the next step is bijam. Bijam is the seed, means it is also translated as the sinful desires. Bijam is actually the sinful desire. This is the impression in the mind. The sinful desire is there due to ignorance, due to ignorance about who are we, who is the Lord, what is our duty actually here in this human birth. In this way, we are ignorant and we produce desires. These are the bijams. And these desires, when we put these impressions in the mind, of the mind, when we put this in action, it will cause a reaction on that. This is then, it can be an immediate reaction, like if we go and rob a bank, then the police will eventually arrest us and put us in the prison. This is immediate reaction, what we experience in this lifetime. Or if you are not caught, if you are lucky, then we will get the reaction in another lifetime, probably. Yeah, because the reaction is either done by the government, and then the karmic reaction is also how to say, erased. But if you are not receiving a punishment from the government, then there is in the next lifetimes the punishment from the karmic level. In karma, because robbing a bank is sinful activity. So definitely there will be karmic reaction, but not necessarily in this lifetime, it can be next lifetime. But the bija in that situation was the sinful desire. Is it more clear?
Yeah.
You think? What is not clear?
No, I think it's clear.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a bit hard to.
Yeah, the law of karma like also is difficult to look through.
Impressions, like what do you mean with impressions?
Impressions. Better explained is the sinful desire. Yeah? This bija as a sinful desire due to ignorance. Yeah?
And the sinful desire may or may not be actually realized. Like some stay in the mind, but what happens with them then? Is it also
what are the functions of the mind? Thinking, feeling, willing. Yeah. If we think something and thinking, feeling, it develops further into a feeling, and from there it's very close to acting. Yeah? But if we can stop it on the thinking state, we are lucky. Yeah? And if it's already on the feeling state, it's very difficult to stop it. Yeah? This is then, as devotees, we endeavor to control the mind. It is said also in Bhagavad-gītā 6th chapter, a controlled mind is our best friend, but an uncontrolled mind is our worst enemy. So there is where our attention comes in. Okay? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad-Bhagavad-gītā ki jai. Ko Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.